فإن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله الله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون وصلى الله تعالى على خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا أما بعد. وقال سبحانه وتعالى في الكتاب الكريم بعد أعوذ من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. Verily our praise and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord, the cherisher, the sustainer of the worlds. We praise Him, we seek His help, we seek His guidance. We seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil of our deeds and our actions, and whomsoever Allah guides, no one can misguide him. And whomsoever He leads astray, no one can guide him. We bear witness that there is no God, no deity worthy of being worshipped except Allah alone, bearing no partners. We bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His final slave and messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Verily the best speech of the book of Allah and the best guide is the guidance of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the worst matter in creed are those who innovate. For every such innovative matter is bid'ah. Every bid'ah is misguidance, and every misguidance deserves the blazing fire. Alhamdulillah, we want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for allowing us to be Muslims, for allowing us to be here in this beautiful day of Jum'ah, remembering Him on an auspicious day of Friday, taking us from our busy schedules and enlightening our hearts in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Always be thankful for the ni'mah He's given to you before He takes it away from you. Today's khutbah is more or less a reminder for myself and all of us here about how harsh and how difficult a day will be, and we have to be prepared for this day. So the khutbah is titled, The 7 Under the Shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The 7 Under the Shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this hadith brings out the importance of being under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment. The day in which there is no shade beside the shades of Allah. In the next few months, we're going to start to heat up. We're going to feel the heat of the summer. And we're going to say to ourselves, subhanAllah, it's so hot. Right? We're going to crank up the AC. We're going to do all these different things just to make ourselves comfortable. But on the Day of Judgment, there's no such thing as that. You won't be comfortable when you have the sun about a mile away from your head. The only way to be comfortable is to be under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this day. So, as I'm reciting these 7 groups of people that will be entering on the Day of Judgment under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, see where you fall in. And if you don't fall in, it's okay. What can I do now so that I can fall into those categories? So that Allah will make me amongst those who are under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this particular day. So the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned, he said, "As-su'ada'u fil akhirah," that the blessed ones or the fortunate ones on the Day of Judgment. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: سبعة يظلهم الله في ظله يوم لا ظل إلا ظله إمام عادل وشاب نشأ في عبادة ربه ورجل قلبه معلق في المساجد ورجلان تحابا في الله اجتمع عليه وتفرق عليه ورجل دعته امرأة ذات منصب وجمال فقال إني أخاف الله ورجل تصدق بصدقة فاخفاها حتى لا تعلم شماله ما تنفق يمينه ورجل ذكر الله خاليا ففادت عيناه. So this beautiful hadith, he mentions 7 groups of people, types of people that will enter into the shade of Allah, be under the shade of Allah on the Day of Judgment where there will be no shade. So there are 7 whom Allah will shade in His shade on the day that there's no shade except His shade. A just ruler. Number 1, a just ruler. Number 2, I'm looking straight at you guys right now. A youth who grew up in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A youth who grew up in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The mighty, the majestic. A man whose heart is attached to the masjid. A man whose heart is attached to the masjid. Number 4, 2 men or 2 women who love each other for the sake of Allah and Allah alone. So they're meeting for that and departing for that as well. A man who was called by temptation, by the beauty and status of a woman, but he says, Inni akhafullah. Verily I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And a man who gives in charity and hides it, such to the point that his left hand does not know what his right hand is given. And a man who remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in private, so his eyes shed tears before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are the group of 7 people that I'm talking about. You can slowly analyze yourself, analyze where do you fall in this category. Do I fall in all 7 of them? Do I fall in 3 or 4 or 5 or 1 or 2? Where do I fall? All you need is 1. If you're in one category, you're under the shade of Allah. Khalas. MashaAllah, the more the merrier. So in this beautiful hadith, the Prophet spoke about the small acts of worship. The small acts of worship, which results to a huge result in the Day of Judgment. Something that is monumental in the Day of Judgment. Something we do now on earth that is simple, people can overlook it easily, but these simple things that you do in this dunya will be a major effect in the akhirah. So this minute, we might say that, what's the big deal? I won't be under the shade of Allah. So what? What's the big deal? Right? So let me quote you a hadith so that we can familiarize ourselves what the day is all about. So on the day of resurrection, the sun will draw so close to the people that there will be left a distance only 1 mile away. So imagine right now, going outside, you can see the sun above you. How many light years away that's above your head? And it's hot. But imagine 1 mile. You know how far a mile is? If you go to like a mountain and you look out, you can see farther than a mile. Maybe 25 miles or 45 miles distance, depending on how high up you go. So imagine a mile on top of your head. That sun is just dripping down on your head. What are you going to do? SubhanAllah. I can't even fathom that instant happening. SubhanAllah. So a mile away from your head, the people will be submerged in perspiration according to their deeds. So whatever you've done in life that it wasn't a big deal, on this day it will be a big deal. So you'll be submerged on this day from your sweat. You'll be sweating to the point that it states that some will be sweating up to their ankles. How can you sweat up to your ankles? If you hit the gym, if you sweat a little bit, probably at the most you get your hair wet or shirt, and that's it. You're done. But imagine sweating to the point that you get up to your ankle. How is that even possible? SubhanAllah. And then it goes up. Some will sweat even so to their knees. Some to their waist. Some are drowning in their own sweat. SubhanAllah. It's amazing. And if this day isn't scary enough for us, I don't know what day it would be. You're dealing with the sun, but you're sweating and you're drowning yourself with your own sweat. SubhanAllah. This is serious business, brothers. We don't take anything, we take everything lightly. Wallah, we do. We wave everything away. Yeah, whatever, it isn't no big deal. Especially when you grow older, you don't want to fight anymore, you're like, forget it. Okay, whatever, you let it go. But this is one thing to not take lightly. You can't take this lightly. You got to take this by the horn. You got to grab it by the horn. You got to say, I'm ready for this thing. All right? You got to take it for what it is. And it said to the point that while saying this, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ put his hand towards his mouth. It's unspeakable, unimaginable. SubhanAllah. So who will want more than to be under the shade of Allah on this day? Who? You see this happening, it's happening, this event is going on. Wouldn't you want to be that guy or that person, be under the shade of Allah on this day? The best thing you can ever want. So again, I'm going to say this again so that it hits home. The 7 people, just so that it resonates in our head. Who these 7 people are. A just ruler. A youth who grows up in the worship of Allah. A man whose heart is attached to the masjid. 2 people who love one another for the sake of Allah. Someone who resists direct temptation from the opposite gender. A person who is completely selfless in charity. And a person who remembers Allah in private and sheds tears while doing so. So see, these 7 things, we're going to break down the importance of these categories. What are our goals? What do we want to do to get to that point? The first one, a just ruler. Now, it doesn't just mean, just ruler only refers to the people in the government, people in the higher up status. You could be a just ruler in your own home, who is ever in authority, who is ever in power. It could be a school, it could be a CEO, it could be anything. So if you have the ability to control over people and have authority over people, then you have a responsibility. That is, it's referring to you as a just ruler. So in Islam, it emphasizes the importance of responsibility. So when you're the leader, people will look up to you. And everything that you do, people will either emulate or follow what you're doing, or they will oppose you. But you are the leader. You're the head of everything else. And it's important and it's wise that the leader amongst you are those who have taqwa, those who fear Allah. That no matter, because I have this power, I'm going to make sure that I use my power for the sake of Allah. You know, it was once reported that one of the Sahabis, one of the Khalifas, he would walk out in the middle of the night and he would hear a family crying at night. And he said, SubhanAllah, how could this be on my watch? That somebody is crying of hunger and I am the Khalifa. And I am a man of authority. I will be held accountable on the Day of Judgment because of this action. So you are a man of authority. You have that presence. Rather, you have authority over people that are underneath you, your siblings, your parents, people that you're responsible for. You will be questioned on that day as well. So the first step is to develop the lesson that learning to be responsible when it comes to power. A lot of us misuse our power. When we have it, we know we can do it, we get away with everything, right? Because we can. I have it, I'm going to do it, whatever I want. That's the way I want. If it's my family member that's being affected by this law, this thing, I'm going to make sure I avoid it. If it's somebody else that I don't like, I don't care for, then so be it. Give them the full had. Give them the full limitations of punishment. I don't care. So Allah mentions it to us in the Quran. And before that, He said the concept of justice in Islam is very important. And it's something that Muslims, ruler and ruled, must apply in all matters of their lives. Justice means what? To give each other the rights that he deserves, whether Muslim or non-Muslims, whether relatives or strangers, friend or enemy, it doesn't matter. Justice sees no color. He doesn't see any other background. Justice is what it is. You give it for what it is. So Allah reminds us in the Quran, He says, وَلَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شَنَآنُ قَوْمٍ عَلَىٰ أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا اعْدِلُوا هُوَ أَقْرَبُ لِلتَّقْوَى وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ. And do not let hatred cause you to act unjustly. You know, it's said that when a person who is in state of a qadi, a person who is a judge, that he should not judge when he's angry. When you're angry, you're irrational. You don't think straight. You're just, what am I angry? I'm just going to say it, and that's it. No. So a person in authority, when you're in that power, that position, and it's come down to you, calm down. Take a deep breath. Cool yourself off. Then go back and judge. Right? That is near to you in piety. So be just in all conditions, all affairs of our lives. Unfortunately, you know, we say this, but we don't really practice it. We say a lot of things, but we don't practice. So we have to put this into effect. And this is what Allah is talking about, having an Imam al-Adil, a just ruler. So the doers of justice will be thrown on the light of Allah, Allah's right hand, those who are just in their ruling with their families and in all that, over which they were given authority. So on this day when you are just, then Allah will raise you on this day. You have your place under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this day. Number 2, a youth who grew up in the worship of Allah. You know, now every now and then you'll see kids, mashallah. You know, those who, the parents as well, parents who invest in their children, they'll send them to Islamic schools, or they will just bring them to the masjid, and they're just inclined to the masjid. They're inclined to worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? When we love our children, we do the opposite. We take them to Disneyland, we take them to Knott's Berry Farm, we take them everywhere. They're worldly doing a thing, but we don't invest in our children to the point where they love their deen, to the point where they love their ibadat more than anything else. We forget that. MashaAllah. And when I see these kids right now, I feel happy, knowing that there's a future ahead of us, that they're investing their time for this. And there will be a shade from them on the Day of Judgment, saying that these guys were worshiping Allah at a young age. They could have been out there playing. They could have been out there doing whatever they want to do, but they chose to do this. They chose to worship Allah. So Allah gave them that sincere fitrah, that sincere, that natural inclination towards the truth. SubhanAllah, you have those kids. They're just inclined to doing such a thing. And yet, we as adults, we treat them bad sometimes. We do, I'm not going to lie. Time for salah, hey, be quiet, hey, do this, hey. Forgetting that, SubhanAllah, have some ihtiram, have some love and affection for your children. You set the example high by speaking to them as an adult. When you treat them like a child, they're going to grow up acting the same way you treated them. We don't want that. You know, it was mentioned in the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ, the Sahabas was walking by, I think it was Umar ibn Khattab, and Umar is a big guy. He sits on the horse would sink because he's so big, his sword would just drag. So he goes by and kids would see him, coming, they were all scattered. One child stood there. And then Umar goes up to him and says, hey, how come you didn't run like the rest of the kids? He goes, why should I run? I didn't do anything wrong. What did I do? And he respected him, subhanAllah. You give them the ihtiram that they should have. Respect them for what they are. Give them that, that love. When they come into the masjid, when it's a little bit loud, it's okay. At least they're in the masjid. They're enjoying it. They want to worship Allah. And you're showing that example. Be nice to people. It's hard, wallahi, as Muslims, we're so harsh on each other, but we can't be nice. Why is it? It's like aib. You're nice to somebody. Why? Be nice. It's okay. Actually, as a matter of fact, it's a sunnah. You get charity for doing that as well. Because why? The number one target that people go after are the kids, are the youth. Rather be video games, clubs, games, anything you name, that's a fitna, temptations that's out there for them, that's it. They target them at a young age. And if we don't give them the serenity, the peace of the masajid, the place of worship, then what are we doing? We're failing. It's okay to take them out, have fun, make them, we think that when we're like black and white. If we think about religion, we say it's, okay, you got to be religious, you can't do anything else, you can't have fun, it's all haram. Wallah, that's not how it works. Take them out, let them have fun, take them out to go camping, let them enjoy the nature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, explain to them jibal, wa sama, all these things, so that way they understand the relationship between ourselves and Allah, themselves and Allah. Have that communication, so they can continue to have that worship, that love for the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at a young age. But we always deceive ourselves. We say that, inshallah, I'll do all these things as I grow older. I'll wear my hijab, I'll go to Hajj, I'll do all these things. But wallahi, there's no guarantee. You can't guarantee for tomorrow, brother, or your next meal. There's no guarantee for any of this stuff. When time comes, it comes. It might catch you off guard. So take benefit of 5 before 5. Your youth before your old age. Your health before you become sick. Your wealth before you become poor. Your free time before you're preoccupied. And your life before your death. The third type of person is a person who is attached to the masjid. Oh, look at this guy, always in the masjid. Mr. Matawa, he's always religious. So it's got to be the religious guy with the big beard to be in the masjid, right? That's our misconception. SubhanAllah. Welcome people in the masjid. Have that relationship with the masjid, that you can't go away from the masjid. The Sahabas, what they would do, every morning they will meet in the masjid, right? Before they start their life. They'll come, pray Fajr, start their Fajr, go about, find their means, come back for Salah, and end at the end of the day, Isha, before they go to sleep. It's a place of meeting grounds, the masjid. Our masajids are like qubur now. We go in there, it's, mashallah, you want solitude, you go to the masjid. It's completely quiet. Beautiful building, beautiful masajid, nobody there. SubhanAllah. We'll be asked on the day of Jumu'ah, by the way, about the masajids we built that are so beautiful, but then there's no inhabitants. We'll be asked. So how do you preoccupy yourself? How do you make the masjid a place of worship, a place where people come and meet? That you have that attachment with the love of Allah. We got to make it happen. We got to make activities. We got to do something that happens here, that we come here for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that reason alone. So a person whose heart is always attached to the masjid, he can't go away from it for so long. It's mentioned that when they would ask the Sahabas, they said, where did so-and-so go? Oh, he went to the marketplace. He's coming back in less than 5 minutes. Oh, where did he go? He went to the masjid. I don't know, he's coming back. He's stuck in the masjid. Right? That's the kind of relationship we should have with the masjid. We should have that longing for the masjid. And Allah reminds us, He says, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَىٰ صَلَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ. And those who protect their salawat. SubhanAllah, things that's overlooked most of the time is our prayers, Even if you can get one in there, in the masjid. In the morning, Fajr time is like the biggest non-excuse. The only thing that you have is I couldn't wake up. But there's really nothing going on in the morning. Nobody works at 5 o'clock unless you're a security guard. Nobody works at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. And you can get to work by 8, 9 o'clock. There's no excuse whatsoever. So the masajid should be filled with inhabitants. Same thing with Isha. When everyone's back, you come back, you're done with the day. There's no excuse for not doing that either. So why is that we forget at sometimes that, subhanAllah, we have to attach our hearts with it. If we can't be attached if we're so attached to our phones, and the worldly things, then we can't be attached to the masjid. There's something wrong with us. There's something wrong with us. We got to start from the beginning again. Number 4, and this goes to both men and women. 2 men who love each other for the sake of Allah. You might not like his face. You might not like his whatever he has. But you only love him for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's it. You come to the masjid, you don't know who this guy is, you're loving each other for the cause of Allah. That's the highest of all. Creating that bond, that love. There's no hatred, there's no animosity, there's no jealousy. We just want to love each other. We want to feel that love. Sometimes, people come in, they might look different than you. It's okay. We think that because he's not he doesn't look Muslim, or he doesn't look a certain ethnicity, we don't want to welcome him to the masjid. Or we don't want to shake his hand. We don't want to give him salam. He might have certain things. He might be starting fresh. He might have tats. Who knows? She might not be wearing hijab because she's starting fresh. You don't know. You can't judge somebody. It's Allah to judge. We can't judge. And we do that a lot, wallahi, and it's not on the sajid. It's not fair. It's not fair for those who want to start fresh. It's not fair. It really isn't fair. So we have to ask ourselves, how much do we love Allah to the point that we don't judge others? Because if we judge others, wallah, Allah would certainly judge us on the day of judgment as well. And we hope that Allah will be easy on us. Because we're so harsh. We have like the Muslim police where you got this under your pants is below your ankle, and you're not wearing a proper attire and so forth. SubhanAllah, let it go. We have to bond. Come to in common ground, love each other for the sake of Allah. You see your brother in the masjid or a sister in the masjid, mashallah, show them that love and affection. And they want to be here. So it says in a hadith, مَنْ أَحَبَّ لِلَّهِ وَأَبْغَضَ لِلَّهِ وَمَنَعَ لِلَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَقَامَ عَلَى الْإِيمَانِ. It said that whoever loves Allah and gets angry for Allah, stops for Allah, has indeed completed his faith. Love someone for the cause of Allah. Forget about everything else. No, I'm going to hang out with him because he's rich, man. He's got this new game that's coming out. I want to hang out with him. Or she's got this and I got that. So I want to be just, friends with benefits and everything else. It's not that. SubhanAllah, we have to be beyond that. We're not superficial. We got to keep it real for what it is. The 5th type of person is a person who is called by the opposite gender and he says, I fear Allah. Temptation is left and right. And don't say that, mashallah, I'm old now, I'm more righteous now, I go to the masjid every 5 times a day and I do all these things and I'm ma'soom, and this is going to happen to me. It happens to everyone. The strongest among us, the weakest among us, it happens to everybody. Right? But how do you control your heart? We know the beautiful story of Yusuf alayhi salam and everything else. These are examples for us to live by. It's not ancient stories that we say, it doesn't happen now. It does happen now. And it will continue to happen till the day of time. So how do you protect yourself? How do you get to the point of your faith where, alhamdulillah, I'm good, man. Inni akhafullah. I'm afraid of Allah, and Allah is giving me more than what you can give me. Forget about this. Be that type of person. Be strong when you need to be strong. It states in the hadith, it said that عن أبي سعيد الخدري رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن الدنيا حلمة قلة وإن الله مستخلفكم فيها فينظر كيف تعملون فاتقوا الدنيا واتقوا النساء فإن أول فتنة بني إسرائيل كانت في النساء. That the world is sweet and green, and verily Allah is going to install you as successors upon you in order that you shall see how you act. So avoid the allurements of women. The first trial of children of Israel was caused by women. And this goes for the opposite gender as well. Control yourselves. SubhanAllah. Have some ihtiram, they said in statements, then, if you have no haya, if you have no shyness, then ifal mashit, do what you want. If you can't be decent enough for yourself, then do as you wish. Live as the animals do. Right? Then he says in another surah, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. And as for him who feared standing before his Lord, restrained himself from impure and evil desires, very paradise will be his abode. Better than an exchange that we have is Jannah itself. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to mix amongst those who understand and mix amongst those who are a part of this 7 category that will be under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where there will be no shade besides the shade of Allah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen, Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi. So to wrap things up, we have 2 more to go. The 6th person is a man who gives in charity to the extent that his left hand does not know what his right hand is given. SubhanAllah. You give it sincerely, brothers. When you want to give, you give for the cause of Allah. You don't need to boast about it. You don't get anything out of it. Allah will give you more than what you've given anyways. You know? And nowadays, sometimes we have the misconception where we do encourage other people to donate and do good things, you know? But at the same time, it's not to the point where I just want to boast and show off what I've done, right? Because of me, this masajid is standing today. Because of me, so-and-so is... Forget about because of you. Forget about the I part, whatever you've done. Forget about all that stuff. It's about them. It's about society. It's about the community. It's about everybody else before you. Forget about all that stuff. When you lower yourself before the humans, Allah will raise you amongst the angels. He will raise you amongst the angels. Remember that. When the minute you get praise and you're like, yes, I did this, alhamdulillah, somebody said, mashallah, and you start getting this big old, ego in your head, the size of a Goodyear blimp, then you lose it, you forget it, you've lost what you've done. So Allah reminds us in the Quran, He says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى كالذي ينفق ماله رئاء الناس ولا يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر. The O you believe, do not render vain your good deeds. Right? They're reminders of your generosity by injury, like him who spends his wealth to be seen of men and does not believe in Allah nor the last day. So don't do it. We said again, I've given many examples. At the day of judgment, when you come, as ghani, you're rich, but then you become muflis because all the good deeds have been given away because you're showing it off. A-riya is very, wallahi. A-riya is like one of those secret, silent killer. When you become, proud of what, and you do it to be seen by others, and you forget why you're doing it for. And I'm going to remind you guys and myself as well, that the more times you do something, an action that you do, check your intentions before your intentions. Before you wanted to do the action, check it. In the middle of your intentions, in the middle of your actions, check your intentions again. At the end of your actions, check your intentions that I'm doing this for the cause of Allah. Khalas. That's it. I don't want anything else from this dunya. I don't want anything. I don't care for it. I want the next life. He's going to give me more than what this dunya can give me. Last but not least, is a man who remembers Allah in private and he sheds tears. Shed tears. Dude, that's for a wuss. You're a sissy. You're crying. Why do you cry? You're a man. You don't cry. Why should you cry? Tears are natural, feelings that comes out from our body. When we're happy, we cry. When we're sad, we cry. When we fear Allah, we cry. It's an emotion that's inside our body that we can't control. And if you have the awe and the love and the affection of Allah, then it should come down your heart, from your eyes, saying that I fear Allah, I love Allah so much so that it affects me. And that teardrop that comes from your face will protect you on the Day of Judgment. Will protect you in the shade in which there is no shade. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst those who understand our deen and to practice it, inshallah, to the best ability, inshallah. إن الله يعمل بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم تذكرون ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا النار ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر وترحمنا لنكون من الخاسرين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على الحمد لله رب العالمين.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا واستقيموا واعطوني straight your lines, fill in the gaps. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا ليغفر لك الله ما تقدم من ذنبك وما تأخر ويتم نعمته عليك ويهديك صراطا مستقيما وينصرك الله نصرا عزيزا. هو الذي أنزل السكينة في قلوب المؤمنين ليزدادوا إيمانا مع إيمانهم ولله جنود السماوات والأرض وكان الله عليما حكيما. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ليدخل المؤمنين والمؤمنات جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها ويكفر عنهم سيئاتهم وكان ذلك عند الله فوزا عظيما. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر.
يا عباد الواحد الأحد الله سلام الله عليكم ورحمة وبركاته. First of all, we would like to thank our Khatib, Brother Abdullah Ahmed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يجعله من ميزان حسناتك اللهم آمين. Also, on behalf of the Islamic Center of St. Anna, we would like to congratulate every one of you. كل عام وأنتم بخير. This is the first day of Rajab, and then Sha'ban, inshallah, and then Ramadan right after that. So as I mentioned to you last Friday, if you have a covenant, something you must to do or to finish your whatever you have missed from last Ramadan, before next Ramadan, you need to fulfill whatever days you missed. Or if you're supposed to donate to your masjid or to any organization, do it before next Ramadan, inshallah. And I would like to remind the generous brother and sister, all of you, our donation boxes is asking for your visit. So when you are leaving out, please visit those donation boxes because the donation is coming lower and lower. And I would like to remind each one of you, we rely on your contribution to keep the lights on and to keep this masjid running, alhamdulillah. So, and I would like to remind you, try to do something on a weekly basis. Just like I mentioned to you before, wallahi, wallahi, we have one generous brother every single week, and I'm saying very slowly, every single week, on his own, he put $300 a check in the box. So do something. If you put $2 every week, $2, $1 a day, whatever you could do in the box, do it. But do it on a regular basis. This way we can rely on your continuous help and support. Also, I was requested to do some dua for a little child. She is quite sick, and inshallah, she might be going out of the hospital today. Her name is Nusayba Fahim Sadat. Please remember her in your dua. Allah give her a speedy recovery. This request from her family, and please remember her in your dua. The sisters, they prepared for you lamb and rice and chicken sandwiches outside there. So please visit them. And also, last thing, I mentioned to you, we have these cans. We have a lot of them outside. Please take one with you. Either you leave it at one of the business that you conduct the business with, or leave it at home for your child to fill it with coins, and then please bring it back to us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless each one of you and drive safely home. And inshallah, we see you next Friday. Wa salamu alaikum wa rahmatuhu wa barakatuh.